From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the Primetime Angles Live. And you already know what time, this is the premier sports betting show. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great because it is Monday, and it's Monday. So you know who I have with me today. He's available, even in the holidays. Right now, he's playing. He's playing Santa Claus somewhat, but you know what? We got him here with us today, and none other than the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. What's going on, brother? I hope everything is good with you. I hope you're feeling good and feeling great as well, too, sir.
Ho, ho, ho. We got the Red Sox Kurt Schilling hat on. We don't need a red sock, so we have figured, a bloody sock, I should say, but we'll wear the Santa's Helpers hat. Life's good. Survived another NFL Sunday for everyone that had the Bucks or the Cardinals in their suicide pool. I feel sad and sorry for you. It is what it is. We talked on Monday. We talked on Thursday. We talk all week about, not just the NFL, but COVID now, what's going on. And listen, it's Sundays is just tread lightly. I can't stress it enough. I mean, if you want to put it together a nice little, teaser or parlay to get you through the day so you have some action, God bless you. But if you're coming into Sunday thinking you're going to make 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 units, well, it ain't happening.
Well, yeah, you know what? COVID did tear up a lot of things this weekend, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed how well the weekend went. Utah State, my biggest dog in Bowl Mania, the most guaranteed dog I can give you, goes ahead, wins that game by 11 points at the LA Bowl. Also, Western Kentucky, big blowout to start off Saturday for us as well, too. UAB with the monster upset to come all the way full circle finally with the big win over BYU. And then yesterday, I had to go ahead and put my Jeff cap on and go ahead and ride the Cincinnati Bengals like it was Secretariat at the Belmont Stakes. So, it is what it is to go ahead and get that +3 premium play for clients. And also the dog bet it wasn't the dog better week because dog better week is tomorrow, but it should have been the dog better week. But at the end of the day, the Bengals shouldn't have been a dog. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? So, hey, we'll take it, right?
That's right.
We'll take it. All right. Why don't we have some fun to start off the show today? This weekend, we had, once again, Mr. Jake Paul take center stage in the boxing world. And let's go ahead and look at what he did this weekend. All right. So we got the fight. Oh. Oops. He did it again. All right, let's run it. Now let's run it right because I didn't have it with us. All right. There it is. As you guys can see, we'll just run it one more time, just for the people who just tuned in. And oops, he did it again, Jeff. He did it again, Jeff. Wow. He goes ahead and he knocks out Tyrone Woodley once again. And that was pretty. That was pretty. I would say, yeah, that was pretty real right there, don't you think?
I was following along in Twitter, and when I saw that right hand, I was like, OMG. I mean, just straight out knocked out before he even hit the canvas. I tell you what, listen, I don't respect really what's going on. It is what it is. I mean, he's getting paid handsomely, and his opponents are also getting paid. So God bless them. But there's not a lot of people that would have stood up after that. The kid's strong. I'm not saying he's not strong. That was a wow. That was a solid shot, Pops. That was a solid right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this: for a lot of people who feel like it's like a game and it's funny and all that stuff, and thinking that he's not really, it's some type of rigged situation. I cover boxing very, very closely, and I have a lot of friends in the boxing business, trainers, boxers, the promoters, all that good stuff. I've been in the gym when guys are training, and let me tell you something: you cannot play boxing. You can't go in there and stage play a knockout like that. It's just not going to happen. When you're dealing with the boxing game, you have to go in that gym every single day and put that work in to make something like that happen. This guy is 5 fights in, and I was at his first fight. From his first fight till now, I won't call him an A1 boxer or anything like this, but he is much improved from his first fight till now. You know what I mean? And you can tell the guy keeps learning. He keeps getting better. And they push him a little bit harder in the gym. They don't let him take any breaks. And I think that a lot of people just have to understand, I'm not trying to butter him up or anything like that. I know Jake. He's a good guy. But I know that he's selling something. And if you got to be the problem child, that's what the problem child is going to be, the most hated. It happens. But I think he's doing the greatest thing ever for another part of the sport, women's boxing. He has taken on he's put his backing, his money behind Amanda Serrano, who I feel is the best female boxer to ever step in the ring. She's a 7-division world champion. She just terrorized the lady that she fought Saturday night. She was the co-main event. At the end of the day, the shits and giggles were for Jake Paul, but the real fight was Amanda Serrano. And yes, it wasn't the main event, but that's what we all tuned in for. And I think that he's doing something tremendous because there's about to be a big fight between her and Katie Taylor for the undisputed portion of that division at Madison Square Garden. And man, I just feel like there's not enough love going on for the women's boxing because women's boxing is actually a bit more, I'm not going to say it's more competitive, but I'm going to say they match make much better than the men right now. So you're going to get your UConns and Tennessee situations like in women's basketball. They're not scared to play each other. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to ask you about that. Is that the same Katie that we saw that got stunned in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, the one that they gave her the fight. We were all sitting up there and everybody was like, she got worked. Yeah, that Katie Taylor. Yep. And Amanda Serrano is about to go ahead and there won't be any issues with her winning the fight if that's the same type of fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Katie was like the next coming to God, and we were live at Madison Square Garden, and yeah, I remember that very, very well. And as soon as you said, I was going to ask you, that was going to be my follow-up, what happened to her, but now I know.
Right. And so, great night of fights. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you guys one thing that Jake's doing. Jake is making it to where these promotions have to start making the best fights. And that's exactly what fans have asked for the last 10 years. So you guys go ahead and thank Jake Paul for getting those executives off their butts and making sure that they get those fights done. We're setting up for a big year in boxing in 2022 simply because everybody's trying to stay ahead of the problem child. So it is what it is. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on. I didn't want to sit on this too long because, we got other things to talk about, and that's the NFL playoff picture at this moment, Jeff. We do have ourselves a tricky situation right now. We have ourselves the Baltimore Ravens are out of the playoffs. Cincinnati is back in. Buffalo is still in, and the Chargers are still in. They are the wild card group. And then, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. Baltimore is no longer in the playoffs. The Chargers would be in as the 5th seed, correct? Or the 5th seed. Then you have the Bengals, who are now leading the division slightly by pretty much the tiebreaker, because they have the better divisional record at this point, but they do have the same record. And you got the mighty Colts. The Colts are there as well too. And then I'm trying to add in that third team right now without looking at my notes, without looking at the standings, Jeff. Do you have it in front of you? Who do we have the other 8 and 6 team that's in this group? We have the Chargers, the Colts.
You forgot to mention the Patriots.
The Patriots, yes. The Patriots are a part of the leader. They're part of the clubhouse. They're part of the leader group. I know the Patriots are there.
But I mean, and I know we're probably going to get to it. If we don't get to it today, we're going to get to it Thursday. I just want everyone to make a mental note of this, is the Patriots Buffalo line at your Superbook, Pops, opened up at a pick'em last night. I've heard now the Patriots went to 1 and 1.5, but I just want to make everyone pretty clear here. Vegas made a stand when they opened it up at a pick'em because they want the Patriots money, and that's what they've gotten. If they opened up the Patriots at 2.5, 3, they would have got the Buffalo money. So just to let everyone listening and watching here, and we'll talk about it on Thursday at length, but Vegas made a stand. They're on Buffalo this weekend. Just an FYI on that one.
Okay. And I see exactly what you're talking about. Superbook now has it lined up at 2.5 and 43.5 when it comes to the over and under for this week. So when I see a 2.5.
So let me interject there. So that this is what the games are all about, people. Okay. If Vegas wanted Buffalo money, they would have opened up the Patriots at 3.5. They would have got their Buffalo money to get it down to 2.5. They needed Patriot money. So they opened it at a pick and they got it to 2.5. Now they'll get their back and forth money from here on out.
All right. So there it is. And this is going to be a 50-50 bag. And we love that, don't we, Jeff? So, we're going to deal with that 50-50 bag that's going to happen with that game. And, hey, when we talk about the playoffs, I'm looking at the standings now. I'm in place. Okay, the AFC, number one is Jeff's favorite team, the Chiefs. And but you know what? Hey, I'm gonna tell you one thing though. Let's be honest though. Staley literally handed them the game, dude. You know that. 9 points off the board. Come on, man. All
the coaches are doing that now. They're all doing it.
I know, and it's insane.
So and listen, you want to go for it a couple times early, I get it. Okay. But at halftime, take the gimme, take the 3, go up by 7, go up positive into the locker room. It's just piss poor. It's bad coaching. And it was brought up, and I 100% agree. This is the out for now, the coaches. Coaching is all about the gut, and it's in game. It's right there. What do I do? Do we go for it? Do we take the 3? It's not looking up at a sheet and saying what the analytics say. No, it's not. I'm sorry. You're taking, your job is to coach. Okay, it's not to look at a sheet. You cost your team the game there. No questions asked. They cost them the game.
Right. So, but see, and that's why we took the Chiefs, because we knew that the Chargers aren't a big game yet. They're not a big game team because they don't have a big game coach. And then I asked the Chargers organization this question: was Lynn really that bad? Seriously, was he really that bad? No, he wasn't, because you still have the same exact product running up and down the field. You know what I mean? You still have a talented team, but they're like the Clippers. You just can't get out of your own way. And you know what? With a guy like Herbert, they do have a light at the end of the tunnel, but they're going to have to go ahead and get a coach. This coach is going to have to understand, though, that this guy is going to take him to the promised land, so he can't make bad decisions. You know what I mean? You got to be smart about this thing. He's going to be your legacy if you do this thing right, Staley. You know what I mean? So, so why don't we just start thinking with our brains and stop playing Madden with, divisional championship type situations. You know what I mean? So I know that he would have made a big splash if they would have connected on 3 touchdowns. Oh, the Riverboat Gambler, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Once it doesn't work, then you're gonna have to hear this, and you don't want to hear this every week. I know as a coach, you don't want to hear this every week, but let's keep it to the playoff picture. You have your Chiefs here, 10-4, 7 what is it? 8 out of their last 9, and then you have New England, who just got their 7 game winning streak ended, and we all knew that they were due for a loss. Tennessee really kind of scares me a little bit. A lot of people have to understand that Tennessee can play themselves out of the playoffs. I know it sounds crazy right now, but they actually can play themselves out of the playoffs. They're 9-5 right now. Yes, they do own the sweep with the Colts, but one thing the Colts own over them is the Colts actually swept the Texans, something that the Titans didn't do this year. So if they do have to come down to any type of, I think that if we run into a situation, I know that they're going to wind up winning if they finish with the same record, but they're 9-5 right now. They're on the brink of possibly going 9-8 to close out the season. And then you give the Colts 10-7, then there you go. Your team is out. You know what I mean? And they were the number 1 team in the clubhouse for a few weeks. So what are your thoughts on Tennessee moving forward?
We were on Tennessee in our action parlay yesterday, and it's one of those games that it was the right side, wrong result. I mean, I was screaming all second half. I mean, turnover. They were running the ball at will, and then every time they put the ball in Tannehill's hand, it was a catch, fumble, it was an interception, it was a batted down ball, interception. No excuses there. The Titans, hands down, that was their game to knock the Steelers out, to put themselves in a good spot. And you already knew that the Colts had won, so your back was against the wall. I don't know I think I'm going to blame Vrabel on this one. I just think they could have run the ball. He didn't have to throw the ball the whole second half. They couldn't stop the run. But every time, 3 turnovers second half. I mean, thanks for playing. I think they're in trouble. I mean, A.J. Brown banged up, Julio done. Henry done. I mean, they're dropping like flies. It's going to be last man standing here in regards to the NFL Super Bowl champ. And my preseason team in the NFC is heating up, and I know a lot of teams don't want to face them, and that was my 49ers, and I like the direction they're going. They can run the crap out of the ball, cold weather. Green Bay's vulnerable. The Bucks just got shut out. And Godwin's now out for the year, Pops. Evans is hurt. Fournette's out probably for the rest of the regular season. I mean, the list is endless. Tom didn't score last night. And I know we're talking AFC. AFC's the same way. I mean, Kansas City now is clicking. And you know what, Pops? They're doing it without offense. They're not relying on Mahomes. It's the defense that's carrying him. If he ever figures this thing out, it's a wrap, Pops. It's a wrap.
Right. And you know what? You're so right about that, because honestly, those were some terrible throws he had in the game against the Chargers. And, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I try not to sit here and just nitpick and all that stuff. But it goes back to what I keep saying. I think the guy just is doing too much that's off the field, that you need to start focusing a little bit more on what's going on the field. And I know it's natural talent, all that good stuff. But, talent always loses to hard work, man. And I think that right now he's been kind of being babysitted and kind of, nurtured along the season by Andy Reid more than anything. You know what I mean? But I think that's one thing that you can like about Mahomes as well, too, that, he back, and now he's just letting the coach, and he's just going with the flow with the program. I think that's what used to get Donovan McNabb into a lot of trouble, because a lot of people want to always compare him to a lot of other players that are in the NFL that were really, really great. But he really does remind me a lot of a much better version of Donovan McNabb. McNabb was the same way with Andy Reid, where they were that successful, where everything just worked. You know what I mean? And everybody wants to say Marino this, Marino that. Maybe it's the same type of situation to me. I feel that Andy Reid, the coach, made him the exceptional quarterback that he is today. If you put Mahomes on Jacksonville, he'd have been on his 3rd team already in the NFL. But you put him with the Chiefs, a great organization with Lamar Hunt, everybody in place, then it breeds nothing but success. He was the guy that came right on time. And everything just makes a lot of sense when it comes to the Chiefs and everything like that. And I hate to say it, and I know I'm kind of backing back a little bit, but I have to agree with you, Jeff. The Chiefs right now are the Super Bowl candidate until further wise. I can't really see anybody in the AFC being able to beat them, even if it's a road or a home game. It's just that they are just so prepared for the moment. That's the whole thing.
The one team in my mind that might have this the formula would be the Colts because of Jonathan Taylor. And again, Wentz only threw the ball 9 times or something stupid on Saturday. They have a decent defense to keep KC in check. I mean, the way it looks now, KC's going to be at home, and we know how tough it is. You know, they had a tough game against Cleveland. They had a tough game against Buffalo last year. And I just think if it does finally click for Mahomes, listen, if we talked yesterday about this, I'd say that we were heading for a rematch, Pops. That's the way it was shaping up. But I mean, Green Bay has holes. The Bucs, obviously now injury-wise, have a lot of holes. And keep an eye. And I know Dallas won. And listen, I don't believe in McCarthy. I think he's going to shoot himself in the foot. Dak's fine. But, you know, his weapons at the backfield is Zeke and Pollard are banged up. I'm telling you right now, Pops, keep an eye on those 49ers. Just that's all I'm going to say. And listen, I'm nothing against your Rams either. Your Rams get a shot. We talked about Arizona on Thursday. Put a fork in that team. Put a fork in that team. One and done.
I told you it was coming when they were 4-0, and everybody was, well, nah, they're good this year, and they're great. As soon as J.J. Watt went out the lineup, it was over. All they did was take Houston's place as an underachiever, in my opinion, because Houston used to be like how they are. But Houston used to be able to dominate in a bad division, though, too. At the same time, this division is absolutely great, and they actually set the tone for what this division was going to be this year, and they get my major props for that because they made the Rams and the 49ers step their game up because the Rams and 49ers, Seahawks had this idea that, oh, yeah, same old Cardinals, but then they all got put on notice by the Cardinals. So that's one thing that they do have, but at the end of the day, as I keep saying, they're going to be much better off when they fire that coach. I'm just, you know, and he's almost about to lose Murray as well, too, because now you're forcing it. Murray has a bum ankle, dude. And Murray should be put into the game when he is ready to play football. You know what I mean? He's not ready to play the type of football they want him to play at this point. You know what I mean? I think you're okay with Colt McCoy being your game manager. You know what I mean? Because there's enough talent around him to where he can be a success. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think that Arizona is a team that's going to probably make the playoffs, but they're going to be put out very, very quickly in the process as well, too. But before we move on to the Monday night preview and take our first break, I'm going to catch you off guard a little bit today, brother, with my Super Bowl prediction. I hate to put it out here so early, but here it goes. I'm thinking in my boxing mentality, too. If I'm a big promoter of a game or a party in Los Angeles and all that good stuff, the NFC representative, and I know they're gonna flip out when I say this, the Dallas Cowboys. The AFC representative, the Kansas City Chiefs. That is a box office Super Bowl on NBC. And let me tell you why I'm taking why I like the Cowboys so much going into the playoffs. The defense, Jeff, the defense. DeMarcus Lawrence, Gregory, these guys are playing great football right now. And they're playing, and I loved what I heard yesterday. They said, we're going to have a competition today. Defense and offense. Who defense, takeaways, offense, touchdowns. I think the defense won that competition yesterday. When your defense comes out with that mentality now, then I think that they're on the right path. I know the offense hasn't been great, but they're in the same scenario as the Chiefs. Your defense has gotten better. So you don't need much from your offense. You don't need your offense to have these 35, 38 games anymore. So there it is. Cowboy Nation. Since I'm to the tip jar, I'm putting y'all on, man. I shouldn't be doing this. I don't want to do this, but Cowboys Chiefs.
I'll take it a step further. I like where you're going with it, but I'll take it a step further. I'll go 49ers Chiefs. And my team's not even in the playoffs. And I just, like I said, I think this team's getting better. I think Ayuk's getting better. They bring in Wilson now. There's no Elijah Mitchell. Wilson, Debo is just not a wide receiver. He's a running back now. Garoppolo's been there. Their defense is getting stronger. And listen, they're going to have to do what, only a handful of teams have done, win every game on the road. But I think they have that mentality to do so. And, I don't think they have a problem going into Tampa. I don't think they have a problem going into Green Bay. If they have to go into Dallas, so be it. But I think the chalk right now in the NFC, I don't think is coming in. And I'll second that. And I think your Rams are right there as well, too. You got Donald. Stafford can be a big game guy, but he can also cost you. But, Cup's putting up Jerry Rice numbers this year. So it's going to be interesting for sure, Pops.
Well, my thing is like this. The reason why I'm not so gung-ho on the Rams right now is because McVay. I just feel like McVay will figure out a way to just overcoach this thing, and they're not going to get to where they need to get to. And you know what? I'm going to be dead honest with you. They're going to probably wind up winning the division when it's all said and done this year, to be honest with you, especially if they beat Seattle tomorrow. So I would say this. If that happens, that means that they would maybe have to line it up with your 49ers. And right now, the 49ers are O-Pop-B to the Rams, okay? And I think they can still be O-Pop-B in a playoff game to them as well, too. So let me just end it with this, and I'll let you say something else as well, too, to end on as well, too. But let's just go ahead and say this. Let's have some fun. Let's take it all the way back to 1993. And we have ourselves the Dallas Cowboys versus the San Francisco 49ers. Two of the teams, the 80s and the 90s. Oh boy. Which was the box office game of the early 90s as well. Well, the whole 90s. So 49ers Cowboys would be so epic if that winds up being the championship game. The fights that are going to break out.
That'd be a classic. I don't think that the NFL and the networks, as much as the old timers would like it, but they want to make sure that Brady and Rodgers are in there and shit.
They owe them nothing.
They owe them nothing. Dallas and 49ers, sign me up.
Right. They owe Tom Brady nothing. Aren't we tired of this movie yet? Damn. Seriously. I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? You can only watch Rocky so many times, dude. Seriously. Because that's Tom Brady's career. Rocky in a nutshell. You know what I mean? So, but let's move on. We can stick on this all day long. Monday Night Football doubleheader preview. We already talked about this on the show. I'm going to be real quick about this. The Browns and the Raiders both are in a must-win situation. What happens in a must-win situation? You would say this, that most likely I would say the Raiders are in the better position today. We can all agree on that because they have the more full roster. But the Raiders, 4-4, straight up versus the AFC. They've dropped their last 3 in a row. They're 3-5 against the spread versus the AFC, and they've went over in 5 out of the 8 games that they played against the AFC, and they're allowing 30.6 points per game. And you would really, really love the Raiders if you knew that the Browns quarterback was some type of just no-name guy you never heard of. But let me just give you a little quick history update. The guy starting for the Browns today absolutely lit up the Raiders in the final Oakland-San Francisco game, Nick Mullins. And I'm telling you now, Nick Mullins should be probably one of your he should be on your DFS team as well tonight, because last time he saw the Raiders, he looked like Brett Favre on that Monday Night Football game against them. And I'm telling you now, it could be the sequel today, but we will see, because the Raiders are already pissed off going into the game. And we know that. And the Browns, if they're able to get this good win today, the Browns will go 5-5 and I think they sneak into that 7th. Well, no, they wouldn't sneak into the 7th spot. I'm just trying to figure out ways to put the Browns in there. But no, the Browns will go to 5-5, but they would be the first team in if, everything works out for them. Jeff, what are your thoughts real quick on this game moving forward?
I still believe in the Browns here. I know Mullins has won before. I know they still have Nick Chubb. I know they have their defense. The key to success is very simple, win the turnover battle. I can't talk about that enough. We talked about the Titan game. They went into Pittsburgh and they were dominating, and not so much the scoreboard, but they were dominating in the trenches. And then second half, 3 turnovers. So the Browns, very simple. Hand it to Chubb, dink and dunk, win the turnover battle. And Raiders can put pressure on quarterbacks. And if they start putting pressure on the quarterback and he gets out of sync, he throws a turnover, a pick, or whatever you want to call it, that's when the game gets dangerous. I like the Browns here. I like them in this spot. You can grab them with the points. I think they win the game outright, Pops.
Well, I'm with you. I just think that, I love the Browns on Thursday. I like them today. I don't love them today. But I just really think that they're going to mess it. This one's going to wind up. And I hate to say it, I like the Browns in this spot because they're the team that has the expectations. But the Raiders are just like the Steelers. When you going to die, dog? When you going to die, dog? You've been kicked in the head. You've been shot in the back. And you still going about this thing? So it is what it is at the end of the day. I love this game. I love this spot. I think that we're going to be in a very, very fun spot here. Let's go ahead and move forward to our next game, which is the real Monday Night Football game. And that's going to be the good old rivalry between the Vikings and the Bears and their traditional annual Monday Night Football game against each other at Soldier Field. Jeff, am I right? They have this game at Soldier Field literally every single season on Monday Night Football. So you have this right here. You got the Vikings minus 275, Bears plus 225 coming into this game. But Bears are a big spread as well, too. Let me just go through my notes real quick, and that's what I'm just going to end. I'm just going to go through my notes real fast, and you guys already know where I'm going with this one. I love the Vikings in the spot, but let me just go through the notes on why we're doing it like this. The Vikings just snapped a 2-game losing streak with a big win over the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. So they've been off for 11 days, not 10. And then they're also 7-6 against the spread. They've went over in 7 out of their 13 games this year. And when it comes down to the NFC, they're 4-4 straight up, and they are the eighth in the NFC. Outside looking in, this is a big game for them tonight. They're 3-5 against the spread versus the conference, and then they've went over in 5 out of their 8 games. Now on the road, they're 2-5 straight up, 1-3 versus the NFC. But against the spread, they're 4-3 and even when it comes to their 4 games versus the NFC on the road. Now over under on the road, they've went over in 6 out of their 7 games. And when it comes to the NFC, they've went over in all 4 of those games. Now versus the division, they're 2-1 straight up, 1-2 against the spread, and went over in 2 out of their 3 divisional games this year. And as the favorite, Jeff, they are 3-3 this year. Bears have lost 5 straight home games. So they are kind of a dangerous spot tonight when you think about it, to where they've lost a lot of home games in a row after a 2-0 start. Now, against the spread, they're 4-9. Over and under, they went actually under in 8 out of their 13 games, even though they are starting to pick up the points a little bit here in the last few weeks. Now, when it comes down to playing the NFC, they're 2-6 straight up, 1-7 against the spread. Absolutely awful. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they're even. And at home, they're 2-5, as I already said, and they're 1-4 versus the NFC. And then when it comes to the over and under, they are actually went over in 4 out of the 7 games they played at home, and they went over in 3 out of the 5 they played against the NFC. Now, versus the division, they're even 2-2, and they're also 1-3 against the spread versus the division, and they've also went under in 3 out of their 4 games. And as an underdog this year, Jeff, they're awful, man. 2-8 against the spread, 1-9 straight up as the underdog. So it ain't hard to take the Vikings tonight, but this is where they get you, bro. This is where they get you. We just gambling tonight, bro. Just like Al Michael said, nobody knows nothing.
You look earlier in the week and you could have had the Vikings obviously -4. And that's where I like them. Their game, look at their game script. Every game comes down to the final drive, the final possession, comes down to overtime. A team that on paper, you're going to look back at the end of the year and it's going to be the best team, I think, in the NFL not to make the playoffs. And I think they win. I think they score early and often. I talked to our VIPs and had them take a look at the over 23.5 or 24 team total on the Vikings tonight. I think they get it done. You got Nagy, dead man walking. Justin will make some plays to Mooney, but in the end, I think he'll make a few mistakes. I see 27-17, 27-14, 13, 30-17. I think the Vikings get it done tonight.
All right, and there it is. So we're both on the Vikings today, and we both like the Browns as well, too, but I'm kind of hesitant. And if you ask me right now, I would say bettors, it's better to just watch the scoreboard and pick a over or under situation than stressing yourself out about who the winner is going to be in the miserable bowl when it comes down to the Browns and the Raiders. But two of the funnest fan bases, biggest fan bases will be on display today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Raider Nation versus the Dog Pound on Twitter. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into some hoops. Well, actually, no, we're going to talk about some college football. And then we'll talk about some hoops. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Anglers Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back, and let's go ahead and jump into it. And we have ourselves some really good bowl games coming up too, Jeff. On the 29th, I've already went through today's bowl game. I'm actually on Old Dominion today with the points. So, you know, we got that working out for us right there. So we got the Fenway Bowl here. Fenway Bowl, I know you're excited about it, Jeff. It is the first Fenway Bowl as well too. And I tried to look up when was the last time they had a team actually play at the Fenway Park. And I think Harvard, we had played a game over there some years ago, but I was looking at the last professional game played there. It was in 1935 with a AFL team, Jeff. The original AFL.
They had a handful of years back. They had a BC Notre Dame game there, moved to there, and then I think that they also had another BC game there. But as an actual bowl game, they were going to have a bowl game, I think, last year, and due to COVID, obviously, it was canceled. I mixed emotions here. I was gunning to go to this, and then they come up with SMU Virginia. It's going to be a shootout. I don't know if I'd rather be warm in here locally or cold and miserable at Fenway Park. But I haven't got that far yet, Pops.
All right. Well, hey, it looks like it's gonna be fun because I saw how the ramifications look for the stadium. It's absolutely epic. I didn't think they could fit a football field into Fenway, but they did. It's gonna be awesome seeing people damn near run into the green wall and stuff like that. All right,
Yeah,
so
and running into the bullpens.
right. So let me go ahead. I got notes. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna talk about this game without notes. So SMU comes into this game 5-6-1 against the spread, but they've dropped their last 4 out of 5 after a 7-0 start to the season. Now they're 6-6 over. They're even when it comes to the over and under, and they've only been an underdog one time this season, and they're 1-1 against the spread and straight up as an underdog, and they went over in 2 of those games as the underdog as well too. Their most significant win this year was over TCU 42-34. So yeah, you like SMU struggling coming into this game, but come on, man, the ACC was mid-major this year. Honestly, they weren't good at all. So Virginia's coming in here 6-6 in total on the season, 6-6 against the spread, and they dropped their last 4 games of the season. They've won under in 8 out of the 12 games this season, and as the favorite this year, they've actually are pretty good. They're 4-2 against the spread and straight up, and then they've went under in 5 out of those 6 games as the favorite as well too. Where I'm leaning towards here, Jeff, I'm going to go ahead in this spot and take SMU. I like SMU to win this game with the plus 105 money line. And I think that they're good money here, brother.
It's a game that I just don't know which Virginia team's going to show up. There's a Virginia team that was very successful for us earlier in the year, and then as the season progressed, they were awful, and that's all I can say is they were awful. An SMU team that was rolling, then had a few hiccups late. Again, high-powered offenses in both. Honestly, if the weather's not a factor, I think that this game is literally, should be scored into the 80s, if not 90s. I'm not good, and we don't do a lot of totals here, but in this game alone, I'd rather just take a swing at the over 70 and the hook, and first 1 to 40 wins.
Gotcha. Sounds good. All right, our next game is going to be the Pinstripe Bowl, and this is the game over in the Bronx. In the way down Bronx. And you got these two going at the Pinstripe Bowl. And this is, I think, like the 5th or 6th one that they've had. This game got canceled last year due to COVID, right? It got canceled last year, right? Due to COVID?
Yeah.
So we're back with this game. And from what I can see here in the Pinstripe Bowl, you got a Maryland team that's 6-6. VTech is 6-6. This is an old ACC matchup right here too, as well, Jeff. Old Maryland, old ACC, not new ACC, old ACC, when it used to be Florida State and the 9 Little Dwarves. Yeah. So actually, And then I had to remember VTech was a Big East school, but they did come right before Maryland did leave the conference. But Maryland's 5-7. They've dropped their 6 out of their final 8 games after a 4-0 start this year. And then they've went over in 7 out of the 12 games they've been a part of this season. And then also they are 4-0 as a favorite straight up, 3-1 against the spread, and they've went over in 3 out of the 4 games as the favorite. Now VTech comes into the game 5-7 against the spread. They've went under in 7 out of the 12 games this year. They are 3-3 straight up as the underdog, and then they are also when it comes to the under, they went under in 5 out of their 6 games. Where I'm going with this one, Jeff, I'm gonna be real simple here. I know I was just dogging the ACC, but VTech is to me a better team than Virginia, and they did show that with their win over them at the end of the season, 29-24. And I like Virginia Tech going to this game because they're always a good bowl team. You know what I mean? They can have a 6-6, 7-5 season, but they know they always take bowl games very seriously, and that's what you got to like about a team like Virginia Tech. And I'm going to take them with the plus 120 on the money line. I think that they're good money. And, Maryland was just awful, to finish up the season. They were great to start the season, but come on, Jeff, 2-6 to finish out the year? Nah, I'm good. They're just giving you a bowl game because you went 6-6.
again, when it comes to these bowl games, you have to figure. That's what's so hard about these bowl games. You don't know which team's going to show up. And a Maryland team that, again, early in the year was great, and then like Virginia stunk down the end. A VTech team, again, you're catching points. In these games where you are unsure of who to take, grab the points. I mean, if you just grab the dogs and the points on Saturday, you were living large. I mean, we were on Liberty. We cashed them. We did have UAB plus the points, plus the 215 money line. Grab the points. That's all. When in doubt, if you need action in the game, just grab the points. That's all.
Man, you're right. I'm with you, brother. Don't worry. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother. You know, you good. I'm with you. All right, so we move on. Let's talk about the Cheez-It Bowl. And this is actually not going to be in Arlington. I'm so sorry about that. It's actually going to be in Orlando. I'm going to switch that now. But it was the game used to be in Arlington. I do remember that. But it's not going to be in Arlington this year because they're playing the national championship there this year. So the Cheez-It Bowl. Here we are. Cheez-It Bowl. I fixed it, Jeff, as you can see. It's going to be another December 29th game. You have the number 19 ranked Clemson Tigers going against the Iowa State Sycamores and pretty much not Sycamores, Cyclones. I'm so sorry. I got them confused with Indiana State for a moment there. But this one is, when I look at my notes, we all know this is a new Clemson this year. This is not the Clemson that we've known for the last 5 years. This is the first non-CFP game that the Tigers have been a part of since 2015. Last time they were in a regular bowl game, Jeff, they absolutely crushed Oklahoma. So I'm just throwing that out there. Clemson 9-3 on the season, 4-8 against the spread, though. They went under in 7 out of their 12 games this season, and as the favorite, they went 9-2 straight up, and they're 4-7 against the spread as the favorite. And they went over in 6 out of their 11 games as a favorite this year as well, too. I couldn't believe that they were actually a dog in the game, and they got dogged out by Pitt in that game as well, too. Congratulations to the ACC champ as well. Nobody even mentioned that, Jeff, that the Pitt won the ACC championship. Everybody's just so Alabama and Georgia. Iowa State 5-7 against the spread. As you know, Jeff, they do have they're 7-5, straight up. Then they're even on the over and under in their 12 games, and they've only been a underdog once this season, and they lost that game and they went under in that game. Jeff, this is an easy call for me right here, man. I'm taking Clemson. I know that people are going to probably have the idea that Clemson's probably not going to be that into, playing in a bowl game that's not the CFP, but no, this is Dabo Swinney. He always wants to win football games. So I'm definitely going to take Clemson with the -115 in the spot, but they're making this game a damn near pick 'em though right now.
Yeah, again, you kind of sort of nailed that. Usually these big time programs, when they're not in the Final Four, they just don't show up. But I talked about this on my timeline and Twitter, where I did hats off to Dabo for, their season was lost early in the year when they lose to Georgia, and then they got picked off again. So they had 2 losses early in the year. Their season was done. But he kept the team together, and they've been playing well down the stretch. I think Dabo has him coming in. I think he has him focused. And, Iowa State's strength is to run the ball, and they're not going to be able to run the ball on Clemson. I think Clemson comes in fully motivated, using this as a stepping stool for next year. And I think Dabo and the boys get it done.
All right. Let's move on to the Alamo Bowl. And the Alamo Bowl pits the Big 12 against the Pac-12. I really like this game. I think that this game needs more notoriety to it as well, too. I think that it's always fun to see these two conferences go at it because they're so similar in a sense, you know what I mean? Very competitive, but only thing is Pac-12 didn't have neither one had the clubhouse leader like that this year. Nobody had the front runner this year. because Oregon was supposed to be the front runner. Oklahoma was supposed to be the front runner. It didn't work out like that. You know what I mean? Utah wins the Pac-12. Oklahoma State wins the Big 12. So I think those two teams should be playing each other as well, too, in the Fiesta. I think the Rose Bowl kind of messed up with that one because the Rose Bowl could have picked anybody they wanted. They just wanted to stay with tradition. But come on, man. We know that you could have made some monster money have Notre Dame play Ohio State. You know what I mean? But, you know, you let Arizona get the money. But let me stay on point because we're running out of time. So we have the Alamo Bowl here, number 16 Oregon, number 14 Oklahoma, and here it is, man. This is the thing. We have a game that I feel out of the 4 games I've talked about, this will probably be the best one out the group. I think the other 3 are going to wind up they're not going to be as close as they're putting them out to be. But this one is the game right here, in my opinion, out of these 4 games a day. And that's why it's going to be the late game that day as well, too. Alamo Bowl. 10-3 Oregon, 5-8 against the spread, even when it comes to the over and under in their 12 games. As an underdog, they're 2-2 with a significant win over Ohio State in Columbus. Now they're 1-3. Now they're went under in 3 out of the 4 games that they played as the underdog. So they tend to go under in these games. And then you have Oklahoma, who's 4-8 against the spread. And then they are also even when it comes to the over and under. And then also they are 10-1 straight up as a favorite and 4-7 against the spread as the favorite. And they've went over in 6 out of their 11 games. Now, I'm not saying Oregon wins this game, Jeff, but I'm going to say that they keep this game close because Oklahoma is in disarray right now without their leader. You know what I mean? They don't have their significant leader yet. Lincoln Riley is in LA drinking hot chocolate and getting ready to be at the Rose Parade. And the other coach hasn't even got to his office yet. So I think Oklahoma's in for a real wake-up call. And they have a quarterback that's not a throwing quarterback. He's a running quarterback. He's a dual threat. And I think this works out very well for an Oregon team that's ready to defend something like this. And Oregon has some of the best defensive players in the nation nobody talks about who are going to be top in NFL players as well, too. So I love Oregon in this game. I'm not taking them to win, but I will take them to cover because this game always stays close. And I think it comes down to a final field goal.
You know, Oregon team that got embarrassed by Utah in the Pac-12 championship, an Oklahoma team where the coach has flown the coop. Again, who shows up, who doesn't show up? Does Oregon have a chip on their shoulder after their poor showing? An Oklahoma team that now doesn't have a coach. Again, you don't know what the temperature is in the locker room of the Sooners. So what do you do in doubt here? You grab the points. Take Oregon plus the 4.5. It's a 61 total. You get in there at that 30-27 game, 31-27. That's kind of sort of what they're telling you there. I think Oregon, you know, again, they've been decimated by injuries. Maybe this month off will help them recoup a little, but I like the Ducks here.
All right. So we move forward and let's go ahead and get ourselves into the state of the Lakers real quick. And the Lakers right now, for all you people that think the Lakers are just in so much disarray, let me tell you something. They're 8-6 since going being 8-9. You know what I mean? And so pretty much, they lost their last 2 games in a row, but that's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Minnesota was ready for it, and the Bulls game could have went either way. They just kind of fell apart there. At the end. Well, really, they didn't fall apart. They just missed that final 3. And I thought, and you know, of all people, I've dogged him out for the last since he left Boston. I told everybody they were never going to pay Isaiah Thomas $100 million. It's not going to happen because he's 5'7" and he got a debilitating hip. But you know, one thing about that guy is he can still score buckets and score them at will as well too. And I bring this up because these are the notes I've taken on the Lakers. Yes, the Lakers have lost the last 2 in a row, but that was coming off of a 3-game winning streak. Now, over their last 10 games, they have won 6 out of those 10 games. And when it comes to the 8-9 that they were at when they left New York that night. They're 8-6 since that point. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And then AD, as you guys know, is out for the next 4 weeks. Expect a return in late January. Nobody confirmed this for me. I just know how injuries work in the NBA, and they say 4 weeks, but they'll probably keep him out an extra week or two after the fact. And then you have IT making his presence felt. In 2 games, he's averaging 16 points per game, and including leading the Lakers in scoring Friday night versus the Timberwolves as well, too, scoring 19 points in that loss. Now, the Lakers did go 1-2 on that road trip, and when the Lakers are starting a 3-game homestand Tuesday night versus the Suns. The Suns have beat the Lakers in the 5 straight, including the playoffs, and then the Lakers are 4th in the Pacific right now, 9 games back from first place in the division and the 7th seed in the playoffs. So if the playoffs were to start today, the Lakers will be playing in. So all in all, there's not much for me to say. The Lakers are just going about their business. And as I say, deadline is Christmas Day. And then once we get past Christmas Day, then that's when I begin my actual that's when I start beginning my actual full, thorough assessments of what's going on with this team. You know what I mean? Because now it's time to get serious. Right after the Christmas game, they can win or lose the Christmas game. I don't care. But it's going to be time to get serious after that game. Am I right?
No, there's no doubt. We talked about it. We talked about it this past week. You know, you got the Christmas Day, and after the Christmas Day, very simply, it's get you to the All-Star break, and after the All-Star break, it's a push to the playoffs. So
right.
You break it down that way. And you talked about AD in the middle of January. Listen, Pops, I wouldn't be shocked if they held him out till the All-Star break. What's a couple more weeks? You know, less wear and tear, and get him cranked up for the for after the All-Star break. But we'll see.
Right, and if they keep Thomas around because he's only a 10-day player, that can actually suffice those points you're going to miss from AD because he's going to score. He's going to get double digits every time he still plays. You know what I mean? Because he's very motivated right now. You know what I mean? And I think that he got besides himself because he thought he was one of these NBA regulars, and he had to understand he was a great story. But when you already had played on 3 teams within your first 5 years in the league, what does that tell you? You know what I mean? And I don't think he got it until it was too late. Now he gets it. You know what I mean? So I think that he's changed his attitude, and his attitude is for the best, and that's exactly what he has to do to be on this team. And I think that he has he has a leader's voice as well too. So I think that this was a good pickup for the Lakers all in all. They both needed each other. That's all I'm going to say. So I like what I see moving forward, and possibly he could be a factor in the Lakers still holding down the fort for a while waiting on AD to come. Sorry about that. All right.
You got nothing to lose. I mean, 2 10-day contracts, sign him for the rest of the year. You know you got instant offense. I'm not calling him, Vinnie Johnson in the microwave, but that's what you got coming off the bench.
Right. And then the Lakers do still have time to add on more pieces before AD gets back and by the time we get to the All-Star break, which they're going to do. Don't worry, the Lakers are going to be making trades, but we have to wait until the first of the year. You just can't make trades right now. You got to evaluate other players who haven't played yet. Kendrick Nunn, Trevor Ariza played last night. Kendrick Nunn should be available in the next week or two. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Let's jump into the NBA Tuesday. Well, not Tuesday. Pop, what's wrong with you, buddy? It's Monday. It's NBA Monday night. It's Monday night in the NBA. Hey. All right. So, the Rockets and the Bulls tonight, Jeff. Rockets and Bulls. This one looks to be a pretty good one. You got a 10-20 Rockets team and a Bulls team that's 18-10. Let me give you a great stat on the Rockets, though. Rockets were a 1-16 team to start the season. They are now 10-20. That means that they were 9-4 since starting the season 1-16. They got to go ahead and get the claps, the claps. Jeff, do you hit the button? I know you got the clap button. What's that? I don't get a clap. I need to get a standing applause. All right, that's good. That's good. But the Rockets 6-4 straight up in December, 8-2 against the spread in December, and they went over in 8 out of the 10 games they played this month. Now, the Bulls had 2 games postponed. They're 18-10 on the year, and also the Rockets did win their matchup, their first matchup of the year in Houston, 118-113 on November 24th. So the Bulls want to get that get back tonight at home. They're 4-2 straight up in December. They missed 2 games because they were postponed. They're 3-3 against the spread, and when it comes to the over and under, they are split in their 6 games. So when I look at this one, I expect to see a really good game tonight. But I think what happens with the Bulls coming in on a back-to-back, they're going to have to tighten up a little bit more on the defensive side tonight. And I know that the Rockets have been switching off great performances with whatever performances on the scoring end. So I think the scoreboard watching will be a good spot for all of us tonight. The -7 is kind of dangerous because the Rockets have already beat the Bulls, so they're going to be a little excited when they see this team. So what are your quick thoughts on this game, Jeff?
The line opened at 8.5, dropped right down to 6.5. 54% of the bets, 60% of the money, all coming in on Houston. The under-over opened at 223.5, now 222 and a hook all across the Vegas Strip. 75% of the bets on the under, yet 82% of the money on the over, but the line dropped. So my quick 2 cents on here would be Houston and the under.
All right. So we move forward, and let's go ahead and jump into our next game real quick. This is going to be the Thunder and the Grizzlies tonight. And once again, this is a rematch of a game that took place on – damn, everybody wants to text me right now? Don't you hate that when that happens, Jeff? Which guy? Everybody, their mama want to text you, and knowing that you got a show at 12 o'clock. But let me hurry up because I'm over time. So Thunder 9-19 are 9-19. The Grizzlies are 19-12. The Grizzlies had the largest win in NBA history at 73 points, beating the Grizzlies beating the Thunder 152-79 on December 2nd at the FedEx Forum. Now the Thunder are coming into to December 3-5 straight up for this month. They're 4-4 against the spread, and they've went over in 5 out of the 8 games that they've been in. Now, the Grizzlies are 8-2 straight up in December, and most of these games are without Ja Morant. And then they're 7-3 against the spread in December, and they've went under in 6 out of the 10 games that they've played in. Now, this one tonight, I'm just going to be real simple with you guys. This one tonight is you better not sit up in here and think the Grizzlies are going to beat them by 73 points again. When you get whooped like that in pro sports, I guarantee the cover will go to the team that got whooped the way that they got whooped, if not the win. I'm telling you right now, the Thunder are a live dog in this spot. It doesn't matter what their record is. Pretty much being pissed off to the highest pistivity is going to be their motivation tonight going into this game. I love them with the +9, Jeff. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 66% of the bets, 60% of the money, all coming in on the Thunder. Opened at 9, and it is a line freeze, which is a little concerning. It is 90.5 at Caesars. I agree with your mentality there and the thought process. You embarrass us, well, we're going to come back and try to embarrass you. Not that the Thunder will come in and embarrass them, but I think they should keep it close and cover there. Your total, 54% of the bets on the over, 68% on the under, yet the line opened at 211 and a hook, now 214 and a hook. So I would lean Thunder and over the 214 and a hook.
Yes, sir. All right, so we move on, and let's go ahead and talk about the Hornets and the Jazz tonight. Both these teams are losers of 2 in a row, and they are 1-2 when it comes to scoring nightly in the NBA. Jazz being number 1 and the Hornets being number 2, but the Hornets were number 1 literally the whole season. Now, this is their first meeting of 2 games this season. The Hornets in December are 3-6 straight up, but they're 6-3 against the spread. They've also went over in 7 out of the 9 games that they've been in. Now, the Jazz come in here 6-2 straight up in December. And as I said before, they started off the month 6-0. They've dropped their last 2 games in a row, which were both at home. And then they went 4-4 against the spread this month. And then also they went under in 4 4 out of these 8 games with 1 push. So when I look at this one, I double back on a Hornets team that's been really getting whooped on a whole lot lately, Jeff, the last few nights. And I think that, LaMelo only can take so much of that. And with the Jazz kind of not playing up to competition, and this is a 16-16 team going against a 20-9 team. So the competition's there. And I think a plus 11 is just way too many points on a Jazz team that's kind of struggling coming into this game tonight. I like the Hornets with the plus 11 in this spot. What are your thoughts?
80% of the tickets, 93% of the money all coming in on Utah. I'm showing opened at 12, now at 12.5 pops. So they are on the other side there. The total, 70% of the tickets on the over, 80% of the money also on the over. Open to 234, now 237.5. Your contrarian play of the day would be Charlotte and the under there.
Okay. All right. So there it is with that. And we move forward to our next game of the night. And that's going to be a battle of Cow Country versus the city. The capital versus the city tonight, Jeff. Because, they're the Golden State Warriors, but now they play in San Francisco. So it's the city now. They used to be the town team. Now they're the city team. Going against the country team. I think this is the worst capital in all of the states. I can't believe we got all these big ass cities in California, and we chose Sacramento of all places to be the capital of it. Wow. Just wow. I just, the settlers. It's all that's all on the settlers, huh, Jeff? You know what I mean? You go to every other state, literally 80% of every state, their big city is the capital. But no, we're going to make this city that's almost like a small city compared to other cities in California, the capital. All right, so rant over. Warriors won their game against the Sacramento earlier this year on October 24th. They beat the Kings 119-107 in Sacramento that night. But let me give you a good stat for everybody who needs to understand this. We have a Kings team that actually is coming into this one. Kings have beat every division foe at least once on the road, except for the Warriors this year. And this is their first game against the Warriors. And the first game against all those teams, Jeff, they actually won those games. You know what I mean? The first game that they played against, because they played 2 against the Lakers already, and they played 2 against the Clippers already. So that's why I said the first time. So literally they are 3-0 on the first game versus division foes. And that's really good to see going into this game tonight. I got Gentry 7-7 since taking over head coaching duties for this team. So they really didn't move much since getting rid of Lou Walton. They're still 5 games under 500. And then when it comes down to the spread and straight up, they're 5-4. And when it comes down to the over and under, they've actually went over in 6 out of those 9 games. Now the Warriors are 6-3 in the month of December. This is the most losses that they've had all season long, Jeff. They lost 1 game in October. They lost 2 in November, and now they've lost 3. Oh my God. Go trade the whole team, Jeff. Get rid of everybody. All right, so they are 3-6 though against the spread in December, and then they went under in 6 out of those 9 games tonight. I'm going to go ahead, and I think that I kind of threw out the wrong type of bet here. I have to relook at my ticket, but yeah, and Jeff kind of had to catch it for me as well too. But yeah, no, I have it right. I like the fact that the Kings are scoring a lot of points. They scored 125 points yesterday, and the Warriors are actually not giving up as many points. But I think with this being a real rivalry between 2 NorCal teams, I think that this game actually goes over today, because the way that Sacramento is scoring, they're getting about 115 a clip. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But I do like what I see moving forward into this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, looking at the ticket splits here, 53% of the bets, 74% of the money all coming in on the tomatoes. 74% of the bets coming in on the under, 81% also coming in the under. That total opened to 223.5, now 221.5. I kind of like where this is going. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Golden State's first game back home since traveling on the Steph Curry Let's Break the Record tour. So first game back, I'll take the points with the Tomatoes, and I'll go under 221.5.
And they got smoked by 19 the other night as well, too, by Toronto, just to throw that out to you. And Toronto is one of the worst home teams in the NBA. So just know that the Warriors, I think that their little run of being the dominant force in the NBA, I'm not saying it's ending, but it's starting to kind of cool off a little bit right now. All right. So they're not going to be for sure thing like they were all November. All right. So let's move on to a fun game. This used to be somewhat of a real good playoff series. This is the Spurs and the Clippers. And the Spurs coming in here 11-18, the Clippers 16-14. These teams have already played this season as well, too. The Clippers won that game as well, too, back on November 16th, beating the Spurs that day 106-92. Now, the Spurs come into this game tonight 5-5 straight up in December, and they have two very significant wins here too as well, Jeff. They beat both Golden State and Utah. These teams are second and third seeds in the playoff race in the Western Conference. So this goes to show you that the Spurs team still can win some games up under Pop when nobody expects it. So, and we did cash in on all three of those spots as well too, because they did cover against the Suns. They wound up beating the Blazers. Then they came back over and beat a Warriors team. And then they only lost by 4 to the Suns. And then later on, they go ahead and win by 2 against Utah, but they dominated Utah in that spot as well, too. They're 6-4 against the spread this month, and they've went over in 6 out of the 10 games. Now, the Clippers, on the other hand, they've played 9 games. They've lost their last 2 games in a row after starting off the month very, very well as well, too. They actually started off the month in a good spot. They were actually pretty much killing it. But there's things are starting to catch up with them a little bit now, and they are 4-5 against the spread this month, and they are also went under in 5 out of those 9 games as well too. Now, this is where I'm going to go with this one, since the Spurs are playing so well this month, and they keep getting significant wins against teams that are playoff bound in the Western Conference, because they have a few of them that, like, literally all 5 of their wins are against really good teams that should be in the playoffs this year, right? So I like the Spurs tonight to beat the Clippers to keep this thing rolling, because now they're at a better point right now, Jeff. So I love them in this spot. I'm taking them as my dog of the day at plus 160.
56% of the bets, 95% of the money, all coming in on the Clippers. Yet the line opened at 5s, down to 4.5 across the Vegas Strip. Sharp money coming in on the Spurs and Pop, and some strong reverse line movement. I think you're in the right spot here. Myself, Clippers plus 4.5. I love the live dog and the plus money there as well. So I am full agreement with you there, Pops.
And Pop, we trust. The other Pop. All right, so let's go ahead, get into talking tickets. Jeff, I thank you too. I know that you gave me about 30 extra minutes. Thank you, sir. I tried to get us out of here by 1 o'clock, man, but I think it's just when me and you get to talk about the NFL, man, it can just carry. All right, so here we are, our favorite. And one of these Fridays, I need to get you in here to talk about college basketball with me for big Saturday matchups, but we'll figure that out. Alcorn State going against the number 1 team in the nation today in Baylor. I got them with the plus 35. Baylor, look, Jeff, Baylor's not going to care about beating this team by 100 points. They just want to beat them by a quick 25, get home, and watch the football game and eat some good brisket. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And then you have Delaware State. Wagner has no business being a 23-point favorite. I'm sorry. I don't care how bad the team is. I'm not going to take Wagner with a 23.5-point spread on the minus. Sorry, can't do it. Georgia going against Western Carolina, one of the more mediocre teams in college basketball, who seem to always be a good get over game for teams. Georgia's not great, but I think Georgia's good enough to beat them by 12 points or better. And then Oral Roberts, I don't know if they still have those great players from last year, and I don't know why those guys aren't in the NBA right now, you know who I'm talking about too. That great point guard of theirs and the great two guard of theirs. Those guys can play in the NBA, and I don't know if they're in the league or not. I need to double back, but if they're still at Oral Roberts, it's going to be danger when we get to the March Madness this year. But I like Oral Roberts today against South Dakota with the -4.5. And then we have Notre Dame here with the -21.5 against woeful Western Michigan, who never is really good any year in college basketball. And then we have, last but not least, we got +35 on Northern Arizona tonight in the Gonzaga game. Gonzaga just seems like they just keep wanting to play patty cake with these small school teams. So I'm not going to take them seriously tonight, winning by 40. I think 35 is a good number.
Some big numbers there. You got some nice dogs, some nice favorites. As you would say, single what you like. It's definitely going to be tough as the kids are actually in Christmas break right now. So, are the teams motivated? The COVID thing's a big thing with these kids right now. It's kind of one of these survive and advance. So we'll be curious how the next couple of weeks in college hoops play out, Pops.
All right, let's go ahead and check out my NBA group for tonight. And we have the 34-1 super high five. Under 222.5 with the Rockets and the Bulls tonight, the +9 with the Thunder, the +11.5 with the Hornets, the over 221.5 with the Kings and the Warriors, and the dog of the day with the Spurs. It gives us a 34-1 ticket. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But I think we're on to something with this one today as well, too, Jeff.
No, I like every part of this ticket. I think you got a hell of a shot here. It's a great price to start the week, to fill some stockings, decorate the tree. Why not better than the super high five at 34-1 today, Pops?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, and let's go ahead and get into these NFL bets, and then we will go ahead and end this thing. So we have ourselves the Raiders at the Browns. We got the over 40.5, and then we have the Raiders first half. I'm going to split it up, Jeff. Raiders first half, them winning, and then the Browns start off. If the game is 0-0 or 3-zip, Browns will be up first. Okay, so there goes. Both teams have been included on the bet, and then when it comes down to the team total, I think the Browns are good to get over 19.5 points. I think that's an absolute must bet right there as well too. So there it is, Raiders at the Browns. Quick thoughts on these bets.
You split it up. I think this will be an early and often. The Raiders are one of these teams that you'll know right away. If they come out guns a-blazing, cars, staying nice in the pocket, hitting Renfro, that's his new binky now. Look for him to have another big day. If Jacobs holds on to the ball and not fumble it. And which Brown teams? Is it the Nick Mullins that not too long ago torched this team, or is it the one that's handing off to Nick Chubb 28 times? But I like where your head is. I do think the Browns get past 19.5, and I do think the Browns win outright.
All right, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Now let's go ahead and get to the second half of the doubleheader. Vikings at Bears. I got the under 45.5. I love the Vikings with the -3.5 first half as well, too. I got the under 9.5 in the first quarter, and then I got the Bears under 19.5. I know this is risky business because Minnesota doesn't have that stellar defense in a sense, but we all know that the Bears have a very basic offense. They're really like these games where they keep getting 30 points in and things of that nature, it's because circumstance. And the defense is stepping it up at the right time for them, putting them in the right position on the field. But I think if you had to really have them really break down drives, things of that nature, like which probably the Vikings are going to do tonight, the Vikings should absolutely romp in this thing, and they should keep them up under 20 points as well, too. That's how I'm feeling.
I agree. Like I said, I earlier, if you can get the Viking team total at 23 and a hook, 24, even 24.5, I see them getting 27 plus tonight. Not a problem. I think this should be an early and often game. I think they get out and hide this time. And I really like the Vikings tonight and in the spot that they're in, Pops.
And we all know the Vikings have been in a lot of close games this season. I think this is the game that they don't have a close game. This is the game that they know that they should just go in here and absolutely crush. And they know that they cannot mess around and play games with the Bears because if they do, they will get beat. And we all know that the Bears have won, I think, the last 3 out of 4. So we'll see how it goes. They have to step it up tonight. The Bears do know that they have their number. So, hey, Vikings, head on a swivel for sure tonight. Let's get it. And let's go ahead and we move forward. So, Jeff, any final thoughts before we part ways?
As we were on here, Daniel Jones now done for the season. They're shelving him. Jared Goff is in COVID protocol. We're getting ready for the kickoff on the Browns game and then the Minnesota game after. Looks like Jalen Hurts will be playing tomorrow. I just got that as well. So everyone, just again, tread lightly with these games. You don't know who's playing, who's not playing. We're getting closer to the holiday. Just play out the rest of the week and the week after, and we'll be ready for 2022.
All right, and just a real quick news on the Browns and Raiders game. Njoku in, Nazik in, Will Compton out. Okay, those are the updates that I have right now from that game. So we look forward to it. We'll be back with you. I'll be back tomorrow, and me and Jeff will be looking at you guys on Thursday morning for the NFL Bet Exchange. So you guys make sure to tune in for that one as well too. So thank you guys very much for tuning in today. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live. As I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and we are gone.